Minisocial is an elementary social network, simply listing a number of posts with incremental ID. Each post have a title, they have an author, sometimes linked to a namespace, so it's like a user account. There's a content and a date. You can have some actions on this Minisocial network. You can create a post, delete, reset if you're an admin, or update a previous post that you want to update. Today we learn through the recoding of these applications. You can find this implementation in the Realm Docs Minisocials. Just to remind, Realm Docs is a list of examples that are mostly interactive, where every of their code is available by clicking on the source button. Let's go deep to the records. We're gonna create multiple files. One is gonna be for the different posts. One is gonna be for the type. It is a usual way of doing in Go and GNO. And since we want to have a little bit of control on our application, we're gonna create admin files, which will let you be able to reset the post. And later on, we're gonna create the test for the post. This one will ensure the rest of the code is working great, even though there is changes in further updates of GNO. Before starting on every of our files, we need to set a package. In our case, we've been named Minisocial. It should be the same than the gno.land file. So this one and this one. And so let's define our post structure. So it contains an ID from the sequential ID package. It will define an integer that will let you get sequential ID from its method. To check out it's working, we're gonna check its package. So sequential ID.gno works by the method next. It's basically super simple. It's calling try next. We just check the ID and increment it and return our ID, which is an unsigned integer. Anyways, that's quite straightforward. I will show you later in the code. Our goal for our post will be to have a title and a description. These both are simple strings. So simply done like this. Each post has an author. It is an STD address, which quite importantly at the time of the video will be changed in the future to simply address. Some part of the syntax of this video will be changed, so you just have to check the Minisocial v2 code. This one will be always up to date, you can trust it. Anyways, the logic don't change. And so in my code, we have an author that will be defined during the initializations. And in the initial implementation, we have creation time and update time, which I won't implement because we are gonna go for very simple post implementations. So now we want to create a new post. The idea will be to instantiate one of these objects into a data structure, which will be an AVL tree. To make it simple, an AVL tree is a data structure that is optimized to only load the necessary informations in memory instead of a list, which considerably reduces the gas cost of transactions. It stores untyped objects, so you must cast it every time you use it. I will show you in the create post functions. To create an AVL tree, you have to call these functions, which is in the new Tendermint directories, basically the core team package. And its interface is very simple. It is defined in the tree.gno files. So you can create a new tree, you can get its size, get one value inside, which will return if it exists and its value. By the way, this function return nothing because it is returned directly here. So these two are equal. And we can set one of the value with a key that is a string and a value that can be anything. You can remove and you can iterate. When coding, it is always a good practice to check out the source code you're gonna use. An easier way to check out the package instead of checking on GitHub is to check directly on gno.land. And I just passed the path of the package just there and you have access to all the source code. If you want to explore, you can just type package like P and all of the package are readable. It's kind of a good way to explore and find new package that can be useful for your realm. So to go straight to the point, a post is a title, a contents, both strings, an ID and author will be calculated automatically. We have to deduct an ID, create the type object post, and set it in the AVL tree. I define the sequential ID object. Before calling any function, it is essential to verify all parameters. Always consider this can be any values. So a good example, we don't want any post with empty title, so we can directly cut the executions. Then we get an ID like this. We create our post like this. And for the author, we're gonna set the color of the realm as the author of the post. It can be simply done with a previous realm address. Again, as I said before, this is being reworked, so the syntax is gonna change, but the logic is the same. And then we simply add it in the AVL tree. And we have our first functions. I will fast forward to the next because they are quite the same. To delete the post, we first have to verify our parameter. So is this post existing? Then is the color the same one that created the posts? So we don't let anyone deleting the post of the others. And call the remove functions. Yep, implementation is like this. It returns the value with no type, and if it worked, we cast it this way. The syntax is dot, parenthesis, and the type, which is, or in our case, a pointer of post, because we set the address above. And we verify great if the author is equal to the previous realm address, as we say earlier with the author. Fast forward, so we verify the parameter, we verify if it's authorized, and we change the content. So let's say right now we have most of our Minisocial network. We just have to render it so we can use it. A very powerful element in GNO is the render functions. This one will return a markdown formatted string. It takes one string in parameter, which is the queries of the path, and return a markdown formatted string. Just like this, we'll return a hello world. And so by doing gno dev dot, we can see our package has been loaded. And we can see that the render function displays hello world in capital letter. To display all our posts easily, we can use a little tricks. Instead of displaying field by field in the render functions, but cannot be reused easily, we can implement the string functions on the post type, which will display the entirety of a post. There is the title, there is the contents, and something a little bit tricky. If the author has an address that can be resolved, for example, the username of Leon or this address, we should display the username instead of the address. So we resolve the address, it gets us the username, and if it is equal to something, we use the render link method that let us have a clickable username. By default, all addresses are clickable, and our string function is done. Now let's display with the render functions. To do so, we will need a pager. Basically, a pager will be linked with an AVL tree. It is from the same package. So you create a new pager with an AVL tree. You will define the number of objects for one page, and if it is reversed with a boolean. And this is useful for the rendering when you have a lot of objects, so you don't display, let's say, 10,000 objects in one rendering, which can be very slow to render. And then to go quite fast, I took a pre-made functions. I will explain line by line what is it. Our goal will be to display every post. So from the string method we made earlier, we're gonna iterate through the pager. I'm gonna go and explain on just after. And finally, we have the render functions. Our goal will be to display every post by using the post string method. We also use the pager we made earlier by the functions must get page by path. The path here is equal to the queries in parameter. It's gonna be set by the picker. The picker basically is this little button. When we click on 2, it says page is equal to 2. And finally, we have the render functions. So our goal will be to display all the posts we have stored in the AVL tree. We use the pager to cycle through the items of the correct page and use the string methods we made earlier. The path here is equal to the queries. So if we are on the page number 2, it will display the post from the second page. And basically here, if we have no posts, we don't display anything. And if we have posts, then we just iterate on the correct page. We set a little string with the ID of the post and an horizontal rule, which is this little line in Markdown. Just to note, we use the Markdown package this time. So it is exactly the same than what we did earlier with like an hashtag like this. And that's almost everything. And for our admins, we're gonna use the ownable package. Ownable basically is a variable containing one address with some functions to verify if it is equal to another functions, if it is equal to the previous color address. In that case, if we want to call reset post, the previous color must be equal to the variable we set just here. By taking a random address, it will be our admin address. This one will be set only during initializations. And if we don't pass these functions, it will panic and stop the executions. And to show ownable is simply just a std address. Alright, we have everything, so we just have to do a gno.dev dot now to test it. We go to that link and we can see we have no post yet. Let's create our first post by going to actions. We set a title and a content. We set the mode fast and we put a good key address. And this is a very typical error here. What it means, we missed to implement the interrealm specification. To do it simple, it is a security to avoid reentrancy attack. So you have to explicitly set a syntax when you're changing the context realm. When you're changing realm, you need to specifically say you're gonna change realm by adding a cross keyword, and so by having another parameter. In that case, the reset post functions have this parameter, which is the interrealm specification. It is set as underscore because we don't use this variable. And in that case, when we call another realm, it is specified that we get into that realm since the call can modify the content of the realm. We just have to set this parameter on every of the functions. And now by restarting the command again, it is working. And here is our final social network. So thank you for listening. That's all for today. There's many possible additions to these applications. You can add other page by checking the path. Like you just do a if path equal hello, then you return hello world, for example. So it can be done as this way, for example. You set the path and it displays a new page. Anyways, thank you for listening. All the code is in descriptions. Don't hesitate to ask questions in the comments. I will take care to answer about it. And see you next time.